Again, I'm Cynthia Williams, and I'm with the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, the Small Business and Local Development Assistance section. And that section actually helps small businesses and local governments to work compliance, confidentially, and free. But before I tell you about our program, I know today you heard a lot about unauthorized discharges, wastewater discharge, processed water discharges. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about a 210E permit as an alternate permit to conserve water for land application. It is a state permit, and I learned about it a couple of years ago when a car wash called me because he got in trouble with discharging. And he wasn't near a local publicly owned treatment works or a wastewater facility, but he could not discharge his processed water. And so I called around, talked to a lot of co-workers, and I learned about this 210E permit. I'm not the expert of it, but I am going to present it to you today. I'll take some questions, and also I'm going to give you a contact person that you can talk to in the future if you're interested in undergoing a 210E permit. But the good thing about it was that this car wash was able to still stay in business, and but he had to design a system where he collected his processed water and he used it for irrigation. So it was sort of a win-win situation. And he went through our environmental program, which I'm going to talk about that later, where our environmental assists him on helping him to complete that application, and he received his permit. The permit is found in our Rules 30, Texas Administration Code 210E, special requirements for industrial reclaimed water, or processed water, or wastewater. Car washes, power washing, carpet cleaning, we do not have an individual permit for those facilities. They can undergo an individual permit. But normally what we tell them to do is first contact the local publicly owned treatment works and get permission from them to see if they can give you a permit to discharge your processed water. Again, there is a 210E permit that they can use as an alternate source of disposing of their processed water. When I say alternate, that means that they first the primary source should be either they're going to collect it and dispose of it, or they're going to operate under an individual permit. But there's parameters and sampling and all that you have to abide by, but that would be the primary method. Again, the 210E is an alternate method. And that does not have nothing to do with, when you get ready to discharge, you got to do primary first. You don't have to. If the water is eligible to be used for land application, such as irrigation, you definitely can do so. Why 210E? It allows for safe utilization of industrial reclaimed water, so it's good for water conservation, and it must be land applied. In the following slides, I'm going to show you what I mean by land and give you some choices of what land application means. But the original intent is to encourage facilities that operate under a Texas pollutant discharge elimination permit to beneficially reuse wastewater as a secondary means of disposal. Here are some land applications authorized in uses. Landscaping irrigation, soil compaction, impoundment maintenance, fire protection, dust suppressant, and industrial wastewater that is land applied for beneficial purposes. Okay, there is 2 levels of authorization under this 210E rules. You got level 1. If you have a level 1 discharge, no written approval from TCEQ is required. But that doesn't mean that you first got to go and talk to your local programs, because they may have stringent ordinances that we do not enforce. So if you're near a wastewater treatment facility or within a municipality, always check with them first to get permission to discharge. But for state goals, if you have a level 1 discharge, no permit is required. For level 2, and that car wash I was talking to you about earlier, it was a level 2 discharge, so they had to actually fill out threshold levels for the industrial reclaimed water. If your parameters is less than these requirements here, you are classified as a level 1. So, for example, your total organic compounds is at 55 milligrams per liter. If you're less than that, then you could be classified as a level 1. But that means that even your oil increase got to be lower than the concentration listed here, and your total dissolved solids as well have to be, less than what's listed here. But following this table here, if your parameters is less than these limits, you are considered a level 1. Otherwise, you're a level 2. And what does that mean? That means you have to obtain authorization under the 210 permit. Again, a level 1, no written authorization from the state. Check with your local program. But you must meet these following requirements. It has to be a beneficial use on site. That means if you're going to collect this water, you have to use it for irrigation or dust suppressant, soil compaction, so on and so forth. Our beneficial use got to be listed in the rule, and those benefits are listed in our rule. Wastewater proposed for reuse is listed in the rule. And the facility has a primary method of disposal. Again, either you're under another permit and you're just using this just to conserve your processed water and wastewater. This is just an alternate method. In the car wash situation, he wasn't operating under a state permit, so his primary method is still collecting and disposing of, and he used the collection system to irrigate his land. That was an alternate under the 210 permit. Level 1 wastewater streams consist of, most of them are from condensate, from air compressors, boilers, steam that generate steam, wastewater from fruits and vegetables, non-contact cooling water, one-screw cooling water, wastewater filter blowback, wash water from building exteriors, that's without detergents or any other chemicals. Same thing for washing pavement, that's without detergents and chemicals. Cooling water blowdown that has a total dissolved solids less than 2,000 milligrams per liter, and waste streams with measured and effluent concentrations less than the thresholds that you saw on table 1. The primary method of disposal for a level 1 coverage, discharge authorization under a Texas Pollutant Discharge Elimination Permit, which I mentioned earlier. Route to a publicly owned treatment works can be a contract with a hauler or through a sanitary sewer, or demonstrate ability to recycle wastewater in a manner which does not discharge into the adjacent, or adjacent to the waters of the state. Level 2 authorization. That's wastewater containing levels higher than the pollutants that you saw on the table. That's a level 2. And wastewater containing any amounts of domestic wastewater, commingling wastewater, that's a level 2. The proposed end use is not listed in the 210E permit, and also the proposed end use is not listed in the rule. The primary method is not listed in the rule. So that's called a level 2. And when you send in your application and describe that process, our agency will issue you a permit with all of the sampling requirements and the ongoing operational requirements that you have to meet. 210E, special requirements. In this whole section of the rules, if you're under a level 2 authorization, there's applicability, purposes, and scope, there's levels of authorization requirements. If you do get a 210E permit, you have to abide by all of the proposed conditions of the permit. There's sampling and monitoring requirements as well, operational requirements, and record-keeping requirements. It's not complicated, but all is spelled out in your permit. Level 2 compliance requirements. That's the producer, the person who generates the processed water, is responsible for all sampling of reused water. The sampling exceeds limits established in the authorization. The producer must use primary method of disposal instead of reuse. So if you exceed those limits, you have to resort back to your primary method versus the alternate method under the 210 permit. And additional treatment may be an option. It all depends. These requirements here does not need coverage under the 210 permit. Internal recycling systems. So, you know, if you have a closed loop system or a closed recycling system, you're not discharging processed water, wastewater. So that kind of makes sense. And providing reclaimed water to another facility or industry for made-up water. Those does not require authorization. That's the end of the 210E presentation. Again, Trey Kane, he is our guru. He's out of Austin. You can call him anytime if you have any questions about the 210E permit. I do have an application and instructions. I only have one. So if there's somebody out there that really feels that they need this permit, I will provide you this application. Yes. You guys, he got it. It's all yours. And also, what I'll tell you about, I'll tell you a little bit more about our small business open up assistance program. If you need help filling out that application, I'm going to tell you what you can do. Are there any other questions regarding the 210E permit? Okay, then I'm going to move right here. Yes.
I have one question. Permit. I know you were talking about wastewater, processing water. So if you were a facility to capture all of your water, see your wastewater, and your storm water, you find that your wastewater, I've been in facilities where they capture their storm water as well, so they're not being discharged. And use this man application.
Right. This is what this permit is all about. It's to help us to conserve water. And if you have clean water, like a level 1 stream, or even if you have a level 2 stream, but if you want to conserve water, you may want to look at these rules and see if you're a level 1, level 2, depending on your pollutants and the limits. If you're a level 1, go ahead on and use that for irrigation or whatever land applications you want to use it for, whether it's for fire protection or dust suppressant. Those are some of the end uses. But yes, you can go and do it without permission from us. Now, if your water, after you do your sampling, you don't know whether you're a level 1 or level 2, that means you must do some sampling. And you know you want to use accredited laboratory when you do your sampling. But if your parameters come back that you're exceeding those limits, then that means you need to obtain authorization under the 210E permit. The application I just gave the gentleman, that's what that's all about. That means you need written approval from TCEQ because you're a level 2 wastewater stream. So the answer to your question, yes.
Okay, so if I would that still need stormwater as in the multi-sector?
Oh yes, you would. Stormwater is driven by your SIC code, right? So if your SIC code triggers stormwater, then you have two options. Either you're going to meet the NEC or no exposure certification, or you have to actually go out for a stormwater permit.
I'm getting back to my so if I capture my stormwater as well and process, if I capture my stormwater, mix it with my wastewater, but I still need stormwater because I'm not discharging it still.
That's a good question.